there are still things taking place behind the scenes. There are still some developments that are taking place slowly, quietly, but I believe we definitely need to look at them, in order and keep an eye on them, because I believe they are going to be a definite big catalyst in due time. So last week we shared the news around the US House, or the Democrats, getting together and trying to really see how they can have some new rules. I mean, not rules, laws that can be voted, in order to enforce these manipulation going on with the meme stocks, but also happening from the market makers like Citadel, in order to bring back that market integrity and market fairness. Talking about the payment for order flow, for example. So we have some developments, some updates coming from this user, Ryan Rigg, on Twitter. So he's saying, hey, behind the scenes, the government has apparently been tuned into what is going on with AMC, short selling and inaccurate reporting, etc. The US House Committee on the Financial Services has some draft they are discussing today, okay? And then when you jump into it, guys, this is really where it gets interesting, because these are the proposals, in terms of what they want to be voted into law in order to stop this whole shenanigans happening. First of all, HR 4618, the Short Sale Transparency and Market Fairness Act. This is an amendment in nature, in order to have that transparency when we have companies like Citadel, Virtue, Melvin Capital, coming in and shorting any company without having to disclose how big that short position is. It's unfair. It's definitely unfair, because first of all, it prevents other investors going in opposite of your direction. Okay, I mean, I can be allowed to also go and squeeze those shorts out if I believe, like AMC and GameStop, that this company is not worth going bankrupt because you are shorting it to oblivion. Okay, so that's one. Second, we do have HR 4619, which is to amend the Securities Exchange Act of 1934 to prohibit trading ahead by market makers and for other purposes. Trading ahead is pretty much what Citadel it's known for, okay, and that Stephanie Kimmerman has been talking on with Charles Payne last week about, using dark pools in order to trade, get into in and out, buying and selling securities without having to report those trades, and also ahead of everybody else getting either the information or getting ahead of what is actually going on that trade. So again, this is not what I would call market fairness or integrity. And finally, HR 4617 to require the SEC to carry out a study on payment for order flow. Now, when you jump on these guys, and I already shared this multiple times on this channel, payment for order flow is not allowed in the UK, in Australia, and in Canada. And those are the big, securities exchanges, besides the US. So the very fact that this practice is forbidden on those exchanges it speaks volume about how wrong this practice is, because it allows conflict of interest. It allows, rerouting our orders, which is totally against what the market is supposed to provide to all the participants. So that being said, it also comes to, in accordance with what the DTCC is working towards, so in terms of, increasing and improving the reporting system on short selling. So I know, guys, that, usually when you talk about, the government working on some of these things, it might take some time, but it seems like pretty much on this thing, they are kind of quick to kind of, get things to the bottom of everything that's happening on AMC and GameStop, and mostly with the manipulation. So I believe personally that it might not have a strong impact on the short term, but definitely medium and long term, we might see something happening here if the short squeeze hasn't happened already. Okay, so let's keep an eye on these guys.